Hello, everyone who loves the beauty and power of the English language. Welcome to Readings in English, your new home for immersing yourselves in the magical world of English literature. Here, we'll explore the richness and diversity of the English language, from its classic poems to its contemporary novels. Learning English isn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about opening doors to new cultures, ideas, and perspectives. It's about connecting with people from all over the world, understanding different viewpoints, and enriching your own life. The English language is a portal to a universe of knowledge, creativity, and communication. It's a powerful tool that can take you to unimaginable places. And for our first grand journey on this channel, we've prepared something truly special, a profound and moving story, perfect for those who are beginning their English learning adventure or simply seeking a captivating narrative. The story we'll be sharing with you is called The Power of Forgiveness, a journey of healing, reconciliation, and the discovery of the transformative power of forgiveness. Prepare yourselves for a story that will touch your hearts and expand your linguistic horizons. Let's begin. The salt-laced wind whipped through Heavenwood, a small coastal village clinging precariously to the cliffs. The houses, once vibrant with color, now seemed muted, mirroring the subdued spirits of their inhabitants. 20 years had passed since the storm that had not only ravaged the coastline, but had also torn through the heart of Havenwood, leaving a legacy of grief and unspoken accusations. Elias, a weathered fisherman with eyes as gray as the turbulent sea, lived a solitary existence, his days punctuated by the rhythmic creak of his boat and the mournful cry of gulls. His cottage, perched on the edge of the cliff, offered a breathtaking view of the ocean, a view he rarely appreciated. The beauty of the landscape was overshadowed by the relentless ache in his chest, a constant reminder of the lives lost, lives he felt responsible for. The sea, once a source of livelihood and solace, now represented a vast, unforgiving expanse mirroring his own internal turmoil. He was a man hardened by loss, his heart a barren landscape mirroring the windswept cliffs that surrounded his lonely home. The silence in his cottage was only broken by the ticking of a worn clock, each tick a relentless reminder of the passage of time, a time that had not healed his wounds. The storm, a monstrous tempest that had descended upon Havenwood with relentless fury, was etched in Elias's memory. He remembered the ferocious wind, howling like a banshee, tearing at the sturdy fishing boats. He recalled the relentless rain, blurring the already chaotic scene into a swirling vortex of water and debris. But most vividly, he remembered the screams, the piercing cries of his wife, Sarah, and the terrified whimper of his young daughter, Clara, as their small boat was tossed about like a toy in the merciless waves. He'd fought desperately against the overwhelming power of the sea, his hands raw and bleeding, clinging to a piece of broken wood, his eyes searching for his family in the swirling chaos. The memory of Sarah's hand slipping from his grasp, the chilling silence that followed the final scream, haunted him still. He survived, pulled from the raging sea by the kindness of strangers, but at a terrible cost. He carried the weight of their deaths, the burden of survivors' guilt, a heavy cloak that stifled his every breath. The villagers, initially sympathetic, soon began to whisper, casting blame, pointing fingers. Their unspoken words were as sharp as shards of glass, cutting deeper than any physical wound. He was the survivor, and therefore, in their minds, responsible for their loss. He was alone, his grief compounded by the silent condemnation of a community that could not, or would not understand his pain. He carried the weight of their unspoken accusations, a heavier burden than the storm itself. The rhythmic creak of Elias's small fishing boat was a familiar soundtrack to his solitary existence. He cast his net into the unforgiving sea, his movements mechanical, his mind a whirlwind of memories. The village, once a place of community and warmth, now felt like a cage, its inhabitants his silent accusers. He avoided the harbor, the marketplace, anywhere he might encounter the judging gazes of his neighbors. His only solace was the solitude of the sea, the vastness of the ocean, a mirror to his own internal emptiness. One morning, as Elias hauled in his meager catch, a figure emerged from the mist, a silhouette against the rising sun. It was Father Miguel, the new priest, a man whose presence radiated an unexpected warmth. He was young, with kind eyes that held a depth that belied his age, and a gentle smile that seemed to disarm even the most hardened hearts. Elias, initially resistant, found himself drawn to the priest's quiet strength, a strength that seemed to emanate from a deep well of compassion. Father Miguel offered a hand, not of judgment, but of understanding, a gesture that unexpectedly pierced Elias's defenses. He spoke not of blame or condemnation, but of healing and forgiveness, of the power of letting go of the past. Elias, hardened by years of grief and resentment, remained guarded, but a seed of hope, fragile yet persistent, had been planted. The days that followed were a slow dance between resistance and acceptance. Elias continued his solitary routine, but Father Miguel's presence was a persistent, gentle force in his life. He encountered Maria, a woman whose own grief mirrored his. She was a survivor, like him, her eyes haunted by a pain that echoed his own. She carried her own burden of guilt and loss, a silent testament to the storm's devastating impact. Their encounters were fraught with unspoken words, shared glances that spoke volumes of their mutual suffering. Elias, though hesitant to connect, felt a flicker of recognition in her eyes, a shared understanding that transcended words. He saw in her a reflection of his own pain, a mirror to his own isolation. He saw the same haunted look in her eyes, the same unspoken weight of grief that he carried. The village, once a place of condemnation, now began to feel different. He saw glimpses of forgiveness, moments of shared humanity. But the weight of the past remained heavy, a constant reminder of the tragedy that had shattered their lives. The sea, still a source of both livelihood and pain, reflected the turbulent emotions within his soul. The path to healing was long and arduous, but the first steps, though tentative, had been taken. The silent judgments seemed less oppressive, replaced by moments of unexpected kindness. The hope, fragile yet persistent, continued to grow. A fierce storm, mirroring the one that had ravaged Havenwood 20 years prior, lashed against the coast. The wind howled, a mournful dirge echoing the turmoil within Elias's soul. He found himself drawn to the cliffs, to the very edge of the precipice, the raging sea, a reflection of the tempest within. He stood there, the wind whipping his hair, the spray of the waves stinging his face, a chilling reminder of the night that had stolen so much from him. He thought of the faces of the lost, the screams swallowed by the wind, the chaos of that terrifying night. He felt the crushing weight of his guilt, the unspoken accusations that had haunted him for 2 decades. Suddenly, a figure appeared amidst the storm, a woman battling against the wind, her silhouette barely visible in the driving rain. It was Maria, drawn to the same perilous edge. She called out to him, her voice barely audible above the roar of the wind and waves. In that moment, amidst the chaos of the storm, a connection formed, a shared understanding that transcended words. They stood together, 2 souls battered by the same storm, sharing a silent communion of grief and loss. The storm, for a moment, became a shared experience, a crucible forging a bond between 2 souls who had suffered in silence. As the storm raged, a different kind of storm raged within Elias, a storm of emotions long suppressed, grief, guilt, and a glimmer of hope. The storm, a physical manifestation of the turmoil within him, began to subside, leaving behind a strange sense of calm. The raging sea, a mirror to his inner turmoil, began to settle, a subtle shift suggesting a change within him. He looked at Maria, and for the first time in years, he saw not an accuser, but a fellow survivor, a kindred spirit sharing the same burden. A fragile understanding had begun to emerge from the wreckage of their shared past. The aftermath of the storm left a sense of uneasy calm. Elias, emboldened by his encounter with Maria, sought out Father Miguel. He found the priest in his small, sparsely furnished office, a sanctuary of peace amidst the still recovering village. He confessed his struggles, his guilt, his reluctance to forgive himself and others. He spoke of the storm, not just the physical tempest, but the internal one that had ravaged his soul for years. Father Miguel listened patiently, his presence a calming influence amidst Elias's turbulent emotions. He spoke of the transformative power of forgiveness, not as a sign of weakness, but as an act of profound strength. He explained that forgiveness wasn't about condoning the past, but about releasing oneself from the shackles of bitterness and resentment. He offered Elias a framework to understand his grief, a path towards healing and reconciliation. The conversation was difficult, fraught with emotion, but Father Miguel's gentle guidance helped Elias begin to untangle the complex web of guilt and anger that had bound him for so long. He began to see the possibility of healing, the potential for a future unburdened by the weight of the past. The path ahead remained uncertain, but for the first time in years, Elise felt a flicker of hope, a belief that healing might be possible. The weight of his past still pressed heavily on his shoulders, but the burden seemed slightly lighter. Armed with a newfound resolve, Elias attempted to reconnect with the community. He started small, offering a helping hand to his neighbors, performing small acts of kindness. He helped Mrs. Petrov, an elderly woman who lived alone, repair her broken fence. He assisted young Thomas, whose father was away at sea, with his fishing net. These small gestures, initially hesitant and awkward, were met with cautious acceptance, then gradually with genuine warmth. The villagers, initially hesitant, began to see a change in Elias. His eyes, once clouded with bitterness, now held a glimmer of hope. His demeanor, once withdrawn and sullen, was now more open and approachable. He still carried the weight of his past, but he no longer carried it alone. He started attending the village gatherings, initially lingering at the edges, then gradually joining in the conversations, sharing stories, and offering his perspectives. He was met with acceptance, albeit hesitant at times, but acceptance nonetheless. The old wounds were far from healed, but the community was slowly beginning to mend, mirroring the healing process taking place within Elias himself. The change was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was real. The village, once fractured and divided, was slowly starting to come together, united by a shared experience and a shared desire for healing. The journey was far from over, but Elias had taken the first steps on a path towards reconciliation, both with himself and with his community. Father Miguel continued to guide Elias on his journey of healing, offering spiritual counsel and practical support. He introduced Elias to various coping mechanisms to deal with his grief and trauma. He encouraged him to engage in activities that brought him peace and solace, spending time by the sea, tending to a small garden he started near his cottage, and reconnecting with his love for fishing. He also helped Elias to understand and process the anger and resentment He still felt towards those he believed were responsible for the tragedy. Father Miguel emphasized the importance of self-compassion and understanding, helping Elias to see his actions in the past not as signs of failure, but as manifestations of his immense grief and pain. He emphasized that forgiveness was not about condoning wrongdoing, but about liberating himself from the chains of bitterness and resentment. He encouraged Elias to express his emotions, to share his burden with others, and to seek solace in the support of his community. Through these means, Elias gradually began to process his trauma, finding solace in quiet moments and strengthening his resolve to move forward. He learned to forgive not only others, but also himself, a process that was both challenging and deeply rewarding. The path to healing was long and arduous, but with Father Miguel's support, Elias found the strength to continue. He began to understand that forgiveness was not a single event but a continuous process, a journey of self-discovery and growth. The annual Havenwood Festival arrived, a bittersweet occasion. It was a time for celebration, but also a stark reminder of the tragedy that had befallen the village. Elias, usually a recluse during such events, found himself drawn to the festivities. He felt a sense of responsibility, a desire to participate in the healing process of his community. He helped set up the stalls, sharing laughter and stories with his neighbors. He watched the children play, their carefree joy, a poignant contrast to the somber memories that haunted him. He even found himself sharing a quiet moment with Maria, their shared past creating a silent bond of understanding. There were moments of tension, of lingering awkwardness, but there was also a palpable sense of reconciliation, a shared acknowledgement of the pain they had endured and the resilience they had shown. The festival was a testament to the healing power of community, a symbol of the collective effort to move forward, leaving the shadows of the past behind. Elias, once isolated and bitter, found himself embraced by the warmth of the community, his presence welcomed, his participation appreciated. The festival was not a complete erasure of the past, but a significant step towards healing, a celebration of resilience and a testament to the enduring power of human connection. The event marked a turning point in Elias's journey, solidifying his integration back into the heart of the community. The final confrontation with those Elias held responsible for the tragedy was not a violent outburst, but a quiet, heart-wrenching exchange. It wasn't about assigning blame or seeking retribution. It was about understanding, about acknowledging the pain inflicted and the pain endured. Elias, guided by Father Miguel's wisdom, approached each individual with a sense of empathy, seeking not to condemn but to understand. He listened to their stories, their own accounts of the tragedy, their own burdens of guilt and remorse. He spoke of his own pain, his own struggles, his own journey towards forgiveness. The conversations were not easy. Emotions were raw, tears were shed, and apologies were offered and accepted. It was a process of mutual healing, a recognition of shared responsibility, and a collective effort to find peace. The weight that had burdened Elias for so long began to lift, replaced by a sense of release and closure. The forgiveness he offered was not a sign of weakness, but a testament to his strength, his capacity for empathy, and his unwavering commitment to healing. He had found peace not by forgetting, but by acknowledging, understanding, and ultimately forgiving. The path to forgiveness had been long and arduous, but the journey had transformed him, leaving him a stronger, more compassionate, and ultimately a more complete person. He had learned that true forgiveness is not about erasing the past, but about finding peace in the present. The change in Elias was palpable. His once haunted eyes now held a quiet strength, a serenity that reflected the peace he had found within himself. The lines etched on his face by years of sorrow seemed less pronounced, replaced by a gentle softness that spoke of acceptance and healing. He spent more time tending to his small garden, nurturing the plants with the same care he now bestowed upon his own soul. The vibrant colors of the flowers seemed to mirror the renewed vibrancy in his life. His fishing trips were no longer solitary excursions, but opportunities to connect with nature and his community. He often shared his catch with his neighbors, small gestures of goodwill that strengthened the bonds he had painstakingly rebuilt. He found solace in the simple rhythms of life, the gentle sway of the waves, the warmth of the sun on his skin, the comforting silence of his cottage. He had discovered that true peace was not an absence of pain, but the ability to embrace it, to learn from it, and to ultimately transcend it. His journey towards forgiveness had not erased the past, but it had transformed his present, shaping him into a man of compassion, resilience, and unwavering faith. He had discovered that the true power of forgiveness lies not just in letting go of the past, but in embracing the present with renewed hope and a profound sense of peace. Havenwood, once a village fractured by grief and resentment, began to flourish. The lingering tension that had permeated the community for years gradually dissipated, replaced by a sense of unity and shared purpose. The villagers, inspired by Elias's transformation, embarked on their own journeys of healing and reconciliation. Old grudges were set aside, apologies were offered and accepted, and long-standing conflicts were resolved. The annual festival, once a somber reminder of the past, became a joyous celebration of resilience and community spirit. The vibrant colors of the decorations, the lively music, and the laughter of the children filled the air, creating an atmosphere of hope and renewal. The sea, once a symbol of loss and tragedy, now represented a source of sustenance and renewal. The fishermen, once divided by bitterness, now worked together, their boat sailing side by side, a testament to the strength of their newfound unity. Father Miguel's compassionate guidance had been instrumental in fostering this transformation, his gentle words and unwavering faith providing solace and direction. Havenwood's journey towards healing was a testament to the power of forgiveness, a beacon of hope for other communities grappling with their own traumas. The village, once defined by its past, was now shaping its future, its spirit renewed, its community strengthened, and its people transformed. The story of Havenwood became a testament to the restorative power of forgiveness, a tale whispered on the wind, carried by the waves, and etched into the hearts of its people. Years passed. The scars of the past remained, etched not only on the landscape but also in the hearts of the villagers, but they were now softened, less sharp, less painful. Havenwood thrived, its spirit renewed, its community stronger than ever. Elias, now an elder, became a pillar of the community, a source of wisdom and guidance. His quiet strength and unwavering compassion were an inspiration to all. He continued to tend his garden, his hands gnarled but his heart full. He still fished, but his days at sea were less about the catch and more about the quiet contemplation, the connection with nature, the peace he found in the rhythm of the waves. He often sat on the cliffs, watching the sun rise and set, his gaze fixed on the horizon, a symbol of hope and new beginnings. He had found peace not in forgetting the past, but in accepting it, learning from it, and transforming it into a source of strength and resilience. His life became a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, the capacity to heal, to forgive, and to find joy, even in the face of unimaginable loss. His story, once one of despair and isolation, had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness. Maria and Elias, bound by their shared experiences, became lifelong friends. Their bond, forged in the crucible of grief and loss, became a source of unwavering support and mutual understanding. They often sat together by the sea, sharing stories, memories, and dreams. They became advocates for healing and reconciliation, sharing their experiences with other communities struggling with trauma. Their story became a symbol of hope, demonstrating the possibility of healing and forgiveness even in the face of deep-seated pain. Maria, inspired by Elias's transformation, became a respected counselor, helping others navigate their own journeys of healing. Their combined efforts brought a sense of peace and tranquility to Havenwood, transforming it into a sanctuary of hope and resilience. The village became a model for other communities, demonstrating the power of collective healing and the importance of compassion and forgiveness. The once scarred landscape of Havenwood had been transformed, not only physically but also emotionally and spiritually, into a place of beauty, strength, and unwavering hope. The wind still whipped through the cliffs, the sea still roared, but the spirit of heavenward was unbroken, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the transformative power of forgiveness. The story of Heavenwood, once a tale of tragedy, became a timeless narrative of resilience, hope, and the enduring strength of the human heart. Set several years later depicts a thriving Heavenwood. The village, once a place of shadows and unspoken grief, now bustled with life and laughter. Children played freely, their joyous shrieks echoing through the cobblestone streets. The harbor, once a scene of devastation, was alive with activity, fishing boats bobbing gently in the calm waters. The annual festival had become a vibrant celebration, drawing visitors from far and wide. Elias and Maria, now elderly but vibrant, sat on a bench overlooking the sea, their hands clasped together. They watched as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with breathtaking hues of orange and purple. The sunset was a breathtaking spectacle, but for Elias and Maria, it was more than just a beautiful sight. It was a symbol of the journey they had undertaken, a testament to their resilience, and a symbol of the enduring power of forgiveness. Their story, once a tale of loss and despair, had been transformed into a beacon of hope, demonstrating the transformative power of forgiveness and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The wind still whispered through the cliffs, the sea still roared, but the spirit of Heavenwood, once broken, was now whole, a testament to the enduring power of human connection, compassion, and the unwavering hope for healing. Their story became a legend, whispered from generation to generation, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable loss, forgiveness can pave the way for healing, hope, and the remarkable resilience of the human heart. The sun set, casting a warm glow on their faces, leaving them bathed in the golden light of a new dawn. The sound of the waves served as a gentle lullaby, a comforting reminder that even after the storm, peace can always be found.